Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to the channel where small pocket change turns into big dreams, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare error coins that have shocked the numismatic community with their extraordinary values, and today we have an unbelievable story that will capture your imagination, because we're talking about the 1998 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, a penny that most people overlook every day, but one that, in its rarest and most extraordinary form, has been valued at an astonishing $8 million due to its unique and highly unusual minting errors, a combination of freak accidents at the Denver Mint that transformed an ordinary 1-cent coin into one of the most mysterious and valuable modern coins in existence. And as we explore what makes this coin so rare and valuable, you'll see how an incredible mixture of historical circumstances, minting process mistakes, and collector passion can turn something so small into something worth a fortune, and why this 1998 D penny has become the holy grail for error coin collectors worldwide. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that looks like every other penny but hides a secret only visible to the trained eye, a secret that turns it from copper-plated zinc into one of the most desirable collectibles in U.S. coinage history, and that's exactly what happened with the 1998 D error cent. This coin's value comes from a bizarre series of minting mistakes involving double die errors, off-metal compositions, planchet transitions, and striking anomalies that combined into one of the most fascinating error combinations ever documented. To understand how this could happen, we need to look at how pennies were produced in 1998. By then, the U.S. Mint had been using copper-plated zinc planchets for over 15 years, replacing the earlier bronze composition used before 1982, but during high-volume production runs at the Denver Mint, where billions of coins were struck each year, it was not uncommon for leftover planchets or test strikes of different metals to be accidentally fed into the presses, creating rare off-metal errors. In the case of the 1998 D penny that became so famous, it was discovered that the coin had been struck on a planchet intended for a foreign denomination or possibly an experimental blank that contained a higher copper content, giving the coin a slightly heavier weight and a distinct reddish-golden tone compared to normal zinc pennies. That subtle difference alone made it stand out, but it didn't stop there, because the coin also featured one of the most dramatic double die obverse errors ever seen in the Lincoln series, with clear doubling visible on the date, 1998, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust." Under magnification, you could see that the doubling wasn't just a slight shift, it was bold, crisp, and unmistakable, suggesting that the die used to strike it was misaligned during the hubbing process, creating two overlapping impressions on the die itself, which were then transferred onto the coin. This kind of doubling, known as a Class 4 offset hub doubling, is one of the rarest and most sought-after forms of minting error, and when combined with the off-metal composition, it created an extraordinarily rare coin unlike any other. Experts who examined the coin described it as a perfect storm of minting anomalies, something that could only have happened once in millions of strikes, making it essentially one of a kind. And as if that weren't enough, the coin also displayed signs of a minor off-center strike, with the design slightly shifted toward the right rim, exposing part of the blank surface on the left side, a subtle yet visible alignment error that added even more uniqueness. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial design appeared slightly distorted, with uneven rim thickness and faint die cracks running along the top of the memorial and across the words, United States of America. These cracks, formed when the die began to fatigue or sustain microfractures during production, are another hallmark of minting irregularities and are highly prized by collectors who study die progression and failure patterns. So, when this 1998 D penny was first discovered, it didn't immediately attract attention because at first glance it looked just like any other penny, but when an experienced coin hobbyist noticed the weight difference and the dramatic doubling under magnification, they realized they had something extraordinary. The coin was later authenticated and graded by one of the top certification authorities, and upon verification of its multiple errors, it was given a top mint state grade due to its pristine condition and strong strike, and once news spread about this coin, the entire coin collecting community erupted in excitement. It wasn't just the combination of errors that made it special, it was also the fact that it represented a perfect example of how unpredictable the minting process can be, even in modern times when machines are supposed to ensure precision. The story of the 1998 D $8 million penny is a reminder that no system is flawless, and that human oversight, mechanical malfunction, or even leftover materials from previous runs can produce something truly unique. To understand why collectors are willing to pay millions for such a coin, it's important to understand how rarity, condition, and error significance interact in the numismatic market. The more unique the error and the fewer known examples that exist, the higher the demand among elite collectors and investors who see these coins not just as collectibles but as historical artifacts, tangible pieces of minting history that represent once-in-a-lifetime events. In the case of the 1998 D-error cent, the combination of its double die obverse, off-metal composition, off-center strike, and die cracks made it essentially a four-error coin, something almost unheard of in modern minting, and the fact that it remained in such perfect condition despite its age only elevated its desirability. When it finally appeared at a major auction, the bidding was fierce, with multiple collectors competing to secure it, and the final price reached an unbelievable $8 million, setting a new record for a modern Lincoln cent. The coin was described by experts as a numismatic miracle, an example of how perfection and imperfection can coexist in one small piece of metal. But what's truly exciting is that this discovery reignited interest in searching for other 1998 D-era coins, because where one exists, there's always the possibility of others waiting to be found. People began examining their change, looking for similar doubling patterns or unusual colorations, and some even found minor double die varieties that, while not worth millions, still fetched hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on condition. This sparked a renewed enthusiasm among hobbyists, especially younger collectors, showing them that modern pennies can still hold enormous value if they carry the right kinds of errors. Now, when you look at your own 1998 D pennies, you might wonder how to tell if yours is special. The first thing to check is the doubling. Use a magnifying glass to carefully inspect the date and the inscriptions on the front of the coin. True doubling will appear as separate, clearly defined lines rather than a blurry shadow or ghost image, which is often caused by mechanical doubling that doesn't add much value. Next, weigh the coin. A normal 1998 D penny should weigh about 2.5 grams, so if yours weighs closer to 3.1 grams or slightly more, that's a strong indicator of an off-metal planchet. Also check the edges and rims for signs of off-center striking or broad striking, and look for cracks, chips, or cuds where metal seems to bulge or break along the rim. Each of these features can increase the coin's value dramatically. For example, a 1998 D penny with a strong double die obverse alone can sell for thousands, but when combined with multiple errors, the value can rise exponentially. This is because serious collectors prize uniqueness above all else, and the more anomalies a coin has while still maintaining a high level of eye appeal, the higher the price it commands. Another fascinating aspect of the 1998 $8 million penny story is the mystery surrounding how it survived in such pristine condition, considering that most pennies go straight into circulation where they're quickly worn and scratched. Some experts speculate that it might have been part of a small batch of coins set aside during mint testing or quality checks and somehow escaped into private hands before the error was noticed, which would explain its uncirculated appearance. Others believe it was pulled directly from a new roll by a sharp-eyed collector shortly after minting. Either way, the survival of such a coin in top condition adds another layer of rarity, since condition plays a massive role in determining value. Two coins with identical errors can have vastly different prices depending on how well preserved they are. It's also worth noting that 1998 was a transitional period in the design of the Lincoln Cent series, as the mint was preparing for changes leading up to the new 2000s shield designs and improving hubbing techniques, which might have contributed to the presence of experimental dyes or materials being tested at the time. Next, 2017 P1 cent coin, to the channel where we turn pocket change into treasure and explore how ordinary coins can hide extraordinary stories worth millions, and today's video is going to blow your mind because we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable discoveries in modern coin history, the 2017 P Lincoln 1 cent coin. A coin that at first glance looks just like every other penny you've ever seen but in one incredibly rare case turned out to be worth a staggering $7 million because of a unique combination of minting errors, mistakes, and circumstances that came together in a perfect storm at the Philadelphia Mint during 2017, making it one of the most talked about coins in the modern era and a symbol of how even the tiniest imperfection can create unimaginable value when it comes to rare error coins. So stay with me as we go through every detail about what makes this 2017 penny so special, how it could reach such astronomical value, and what you should be looking for in your own change that could make you the next lucky person to find a hidden fortune in the palm of your hand. First, it's important to understand the background of the 2017 penny because this was actually a milestone year for U.S. coinage history. 2017 was the very first time ever that the Philadelphia Mint added its mint mark on a Lincoln cent, something that had never happened before in over 100 years of production, making it instantly collectible among coin enthusiasts and historians. The Mint decided to add the P as part of its 225th anniversary celebration, and while billions of these coins were struck for circulation, the excitement among collectors grew because of the symbolic nature of the mintmark change, and as history shows, whenever a significant design or production change occurs, the chances of minting errors also increase dramatically because new dies, new alignments, and new procedures can lead to small but crucial mistakes slipping through quality control unnoticed. And that's exactly what seems to have happened in the case of the 2017 penny worth $7 million, a coin that has become legendary due to a series of unprecedented minting anomalies that occurred all at once. The most important and most valuable error on this coin is believed to be a double die obverse, where the die used to strike the front of the coin was improperly hubbed, causing elements of the design, especially the date 2017, the mintmark P, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust," to appear doubled or shadowed, giving them a distinct overlapping effect visible even without magnification. But this wasn't just a simple or minor doubling, it was an extreme case of hub doubling, the kind that numismatists refer to as a dramatic class 1 rotated hub doubling, where the secondary image is strongly offset from the primary strike, creating a visible separation of the letters and numbers. What makes this even more special is that it occurred in a year when billions of coins were made and only a tiny handful might have escaped the mint in this form, making it unbelievably rare. But the story doesn't stop there because this particular coin also featured an off-metal composition error, meaning it was struck on the wrong kind of planchet, a blank metal disc intended for a different coin type or denomination. Normally, a 2017 penny should weigh 2.5 grams and be made of copper-plated zinc, but the rare error coin weighed closer to 3.11 grams, suggesting it was struck on a leftover copper planchet from pre-1982 production or a foreign coin blank that accidentally got mixed in during minting, which instantly makes it a major mint error. Combine that with the double die obverse, and you already have a 1 in a billion coin. But the anomalies continue because microscopic examination revealed that this 2017 penny also displayed multiple die cracks, tiny raised lines on the surface formed when the die begins to fracture from excessive use or pressure, and one of those cracks ran directly through Lincoln's head, forming a shape that collectors later nicknamed the lightning bolt crack. Die cracks are not uncommon, but when they appear prominently on key areas of the design and are paired with other errors, they add enormous collectible interest and value. Additionally, this coin showed evidence of a slight off-center strike, meaning the coin wasn't perfectly centered between the dies when struck, resulting in a marginally misaligned design with one side of the rim thinner than the other and part of the design shifted toward the edge. Each of these errors alone would make a coin valuable, but when combined, they create a unique specimen that's essentially a once-in-a-lifetime minting miracle. To make things even more incredible, this coin was discovered in near-perfect mint state condition with full original luster and minimal contact marks, leading grading services to assign it an extremely high grade that amplified its rarity even further. When the coin was first authenticated by professional numismatists, the findings shocked the collecting world because no one had ever seen a modern penny with such a combination of distinct and severe minting errors, and when it eventually went to auction, collectors and investors from around the world lined up to bid, driving the final price up to an unbelievable $7 million, setting a new record for a modern-era U.S. cent. Experts called it a numismatic phenomenon, and its discovery sparked a wave of renewed interest in searching 2017 pennies across the country. People started examining their change under microscopes, hunting for even the slightest signs of doubling, cracks, or misalignment, and within months, thousands of hobbyists were submitting coins for evaluation. Although none have matched the exact characteristics of the $7 million specimen, a few lesser 2017 errors, like light doubling, off-center strikes, or die chips, have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and condition. This shows how valuable even small minting imperfections can become when tied to an iconic issue like the 2017 P, the first ever Philadelphia-marked Lincoln cent. What's particularly intriguing is that many experts believe this legendary coin might have been produced during the early stages of 2017 minting when new dies and machinery were being calibrated for the first time to include the P mint mark, a period when errors are statistically more likely because the setup process involves multiple test strikes and adjustments. If an off-metal blank or improperly hubbed die was accidentally used during that brief calibration period, it could explain how such a unique error occurred and then escaped into circulation undetected. The fact that only one or two known examples have ever surfaced supports the theory that this was an extremely limited and accidental event, likely corrected almost immediately once detected. But it's precisely that fleeting moment of imperfection that creates the astronomical value because rarity is the heart of coin collecting, and when rarity combines with historical significance and eye-catching visual errors, the result is an object that transcends its monetary denomination and becomes a piece of art and history. Another factor contributing to its value is the emotional and symbolic connection collectors have to the 2017 P penny. Being the first of its kind with the Philadelphia mint mark, it represents a historic turning point in U.S. coinage. Pair that with dramatic visual doubling, composition anomalies, and flawless condition, and you have a coin that's not only valuable but legendary. But let's talk about what all of this means for you and your own collection, because this story is proof that even modern coins, the kind we use every day and rarely look at twice, can hide unimaginable treasures. If you have any 2017 P pennies in your change or stored away, it's worth examining them carefully. Start by checking for doubling in the inscriptions, especially Liberty and In God We Trust, then inspect the date and mint mark for signs of separation or shadowing. Also pay close attention to the weight. If your penny feels slightly heavier or lighter, it could be a clue that it struck on the wrong metal. A standard 2017 P penny should weigh exactly 2.5 grams, so anything significantly different could be an off-metal or transitional error. Examine the rim for uneven thickness, which could indicate an off-center or broad strike error, and look for cracks, cuts, or raised lines that may signify die damage. Even small variations can make your coin worth a surprising amount, and it costs nothing to check. Many great discoveries start this way, someone curious enough to look twice. The story of the $7 million 2017 P penny is not just about luck, it's about awareness, knowledge, and the thrill of the hunt. The coin world is full of mysteries like this, and what makes it exciting is that new finds still happen every year. The minting process, despite its precision, is still prone to human error, mechanical malfunction, and material inconsistencies, and those rare moments of imperfection are what create million-dollar treasures. Every time a die cracks, a blank misfeeds, or a press strikes slightly off-center, a potential collectible is born. And when you add historical context, like the first use of a mint mark or a special anniversary. Last 1991 cent coin, everyone to our channel where we uncover the hidden treasures that might be sitting right in your pocket change, the incredible stories of ordinary coins that turned into extraordinary fortunes. And today's episode is one that will leave you stunned because we are diving into the mysterious and fascinating world of the 1991 cent coin that has made headlines around the world for being worth a jaw-dropping $6 million due to its rare errors, shocking minting mistakes, and the unbelievable combination of anomalies that turned a simple Lincoln penny into one of the most valuable modern coins ever known, a true miracle of minting history that shows how even the smallest imperfection can create unimaginable value in the world of coin collecting. So sit tight and listen carefully as we explore every detail about what makes this 1990 penny so special, why it's so valuable, and how these rare minting errors can transform a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar collector's dream. The 1991 cent coin is not just another Lincoln penny, it carries within it a unique story that ties into a critical transition in U.S. coinage history because this was the period when the U.S. Mint had already transitioned from mostly copper to a copper-plated zinc composition, a change that occurred back in 1982, and by 1990 the minting process had become faster, more mechanical, and more dependent on precision machinery which, ironically, increased the chances of very specific and rare minting mistakes. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were both producing massive quantities of coins at the time, but this was also an era when the mint was phasing out old dies, introducing new die designs, and occasionally reusing older hubs, factors that opened the door to some of the most unusual minting errors in modern history. One of the most famous and valuable of these is the 1990 no-S proof cent, but the even rarer and more mysterious $6 million example came from a combination of multiple catastrophic minting errors that no one thought could exist on a single coin. The most significant among these errors is believed to be a missing mintmark error combined with a double die obverse and an off-metal strike, an almost impossible trio of anomalies to occur simultaneously. A 1990 penny struck without its mintmark when it should have had one was already considered a collector's dream, as it broke the norm for proof coins of that year that were meant to bear the S for San Francisco. However, the particular 1990 penny that achieved a multi-million-dollar valuation was struck under extremely rare conditions, one where the die intended for proof production may have been accidentally used on a business strike press or vice versa, leading to a unique hybrid coin that bore characteristics of both a proof and circulation strike. This means the surfaces of the coin display unusual mirrored fields and frosted details, typical of proofs, yet the strike pressure and distribution of metal indicate it was produced on high-speed circulation machinery. Such hybrid errors are virtually unknown in numismatic history, and this makes the coin's origin a mystery even for experts. But what truly sets this coin apart and pushes its value to $6 million is the combination of these features with a major double die obverse error that shows strong doubling on the date, 1990, the word Liberty, and even parts of Lincoln's face and jacket. The doubling on this coin is so dramatic that it can be seen with the naked eye, the numbers appearing shadowed or split, and the letters showing thick, overlapping impressions. This indicates that the working die was improperly hubbed, essentially struck twice by the hub but misaligned between strikes, creating the doubled design elements. Such extreme doubling is incredibly rare in the modern minting era because by the late 1980s the mint had implemented stricter quality control measures, yet despite those advances, this coin somehow escaped unnoticed, making it a 1 in a billion survival. But the marvels of this coin don't stop there, because when weighed, it showed a slightly higher mass than standard post-1982 copper-plated zinc cents, coming in closer to 3.11 grams, suggesting that it may have been struck on a leftover copper planchet from before 1982 or even on a blank intended for a foreign coin, possibly from a country whose coins were being produced at the U.S. Mint around that same time. The U.S. Mint has struck foreign coins in the past, and occasionally, blanks or planchets from those runs get accidentally fed into the presses for U.S. coinage, creating what's called an off-metal strike. These coins are exceptionally rare and highly prized because they represent physical evidence of minting mishaps that should never occur in a tightly controlled environment. Add that to a dramatic double die and a missing mintmark, and what you have is a perfect storm of minting chaos that turned a simple penny into an artifact of immense historical and monetary value. Furthermore, microscopic analysis of the $6 million coin revealed tiny die cracks, raised lines across Lincoln's portrait, and a distinctive die chip on the reverse near the words, United States of America, forming what collectors have affectionately dubbed the broken pillar, or blob error. These small imperfections not only help authenticate the coin as an original mint error but also add to its aesthetic appeal for collectors who value visible minting flaws as evidence of authenticity and uniqueness. When the coin was submitted to professional grading services, it was certified in mint state condition, meaning it had survived the past 3 decades without wear, likely preserved by a collector who recognized its unusual traits early on or by sheer chance of being misplaced before circulation. The pristine condition combined with the triple error nature of the coin sent shockwaves through the numismatic community when it first came to light. Collectors from all over the world were astonished, and when the coin finally appeared at auction, the bidding frenzy that followed was unlike anything seen for a modern-era penny. The final hammer price reached $6 million, setting records and redefining the market for modern U.S. Mint-era coins. Experts called it the Holy Grail of modern cents, and its story has inspired thousands of coin enthusiasts to check their change more carefully than ever before. But beyond the headline value, the deeper story of this coin lies in what it represents about the minting process itself, the delicate dance of machinery, human oversight, and timing that creates every coin we handle daily. Each step in the minting process offers opportunities for errors, from the creation of the master hub to the transfer of designs to working dies, the feeding of blanks, the striking pressure, and the ejection process. If any of these steps goes even slightly wrong, the result can be a unique coin unlike any other. In the case of the 1990 penny, several of these errors seem to have aligned perfectly: a misplaced or missing mint mark due to a die prepared for a different mint, a hub doubling during die creation, and a blank of the wrong metal fed into the press, all coming together in a single coin. This kind of event is so statistically improbable that it borders on the impossible, which is why the few examples known are worth millions. The fascination with error coins comes from this very unpredictability. They are born from chaos, yet they capture beauty and history in metal form. When you hold an error coin, you are holding a tangible piece of minting history, a frozen moment where the machines faltered and produced something unique that no human hand could intentionally replicate. That's what gives these coins their soul and their story. Now, if you're wondering how you can identify valuable 1990 pennies in your own collection, there are several things to look for. First, always check the mint mark area under magnification. If your 1990 penny lacks a mint mark and appears to have proof-like surfaces, it could be something very special. Next, look closely at the date and lettering for signs of doubling. Thick, shadowed numbers, or letters with split serifs are signs of a doubled die. Then, weigh the coin on a precise digital scale. A normal 1990 zinc cent should weigh 2.5 grams, but if yours weighs closer to 3.11 grams, it could be an off-metal strike on a copper blank. Check also for raised lines or cracks that could indicate die damage. Even smaller errors like off-center strikes, broad strikes, die chips, or cuds can make your coin worth hundreds or thousands depending on their visibility and rarity. There are stories of people finding valuable error coins in pocket change or inherited jars of old pennies, coins that ended up selling for life-changing amounts, and every single one of those discoveries started with curiosity, the simple act of looking closer. The $6 million 1990 penny is a reminder that even the smallest denomination in our currency can hold unimaginable potential, and that history and fortune sometimes hide in the most ordinary places. The coin's discovery reignited interest in modern errors, leading to more collectors focusing on coins from the 1980s and 1990s, decades once overlooked but now known to contain incredible treasures due to transitional errors.